It's time for Pod of the Dead. Join us.
Yeah, I really can't wait for this. So, all right, let's
get into it.
Let's just get into it. All right.
Okay.
All right. Hello, welcome to Pod of the Dead. I'm your host, Nicholas, and with me, as always, are two ghosts that have just shown up on the podcast. We got Tasha and Stephanie. On today's episode, we are covering 13 ghosts. So before we really get into all the nitty gritties and stuff of it, when this movie came up and everything, this was a listener request. Who was that a request from, Tasha?
Chris Handshoe requested this movie.
Chris Handshoe. I need to see you in my office. But what do you guys think you're getting into when seeing 13 Ghosts?
I loved this movie when I was like 11 or 12, so I forgot so much of it, but I knew I was getting into Matthew Lillard territory, so that made me really happy.
Right on.
Yeah. I kind of in Tasha's same way. Like, I loved this movie when we were kids, like when it came out. This came out like in the late 90s. And
I think it was 2001.
Oh, 2001. Okay, so it was in that same area. So yeah, watched that when I was younger. Loved it. Rewatched it over and over and over again. And then I would say in like the last year, maybe, I put it on and I didn't actually pay attention to it, but it was like in the background for a little while. So I have a decent experience with this movie. And Matthew Lillard is always fun to watch regardless what he's in. Yeah. Even if it's a great movie or a bad movie, he's just entertaining in itself. So I was excited to see it again just to get a different perspective because it's been a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's shocking that you say, Tasha, that you watched this a lot, like when you were 11 and stuff, because this is my first time seeing this.
This was a movie that I watched a lot with Sam at the campground.
Oh, okay.
I remember having the VHS of this that we would watch on rainy days.
VHS of this?
Either we did or Sam did. I know I watched this movie a lot.
Okay. See, now, okay. Judging a book on its cover and stuff, I'd never seen this. I was very, very familiar with it. I'd seen the movies that came out around the time that are kind of like siblings of it or whatever. So this movie was made by a production company or whatever called Dark Castle. And
that's ominous.
they were like
yeah.
Basically not charged with, but like what their whole point was, they were making remakes of these older horror films and making them at their time. And I'm a really big fan of their first one that they did. This is the second one. 13 Ghosts is their second film. Their first film they did was the remake of House on Haunted Hill.
Oh, so these are by the same people?
This is by the same company. And then the third film was Ghost Ship. So those were like the three movies that they did. But yeah, like going into this, I knew Matthew Lillard was in it. I knew it was an early 2000s horror film. I knew it was a remake. I didn't know much about it. I knew it dealt with like a big glass house like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remembered not remembered, but like I knew about the style of the film. Like I knew about like, oh, it's got like these ghosts and there's this big glass house. And like, that's all I knew. And Matthew Lillard and Tony Shalhoub was in it. I knew that Tony Shalhoub was in it. I knew Monk was in it. But beyond that, I knew fuck all about it. So going into this blind and like kind of going like, okay, this was a big budget film, well, quote unquote, big budget film that came out in the early 2000s. So you got to kind of like look at it with those kind of glasses, which the movie's full of glasses. But like I said, I'm going to need to see you in my office, though, about this film because maybe it hit me different because this is the first time I'm seeing it, and I'm in my late 30s. Because like I saw House on Haunted Hill when I was young, and I fucking still love that movie. If I would have seen this movie then, maybe we'd have a completely different podcast episode. But if you really like this movie, you're gonna hate me today. It's
okay. We're gonna have warring. It's okay. We're gonna war our opinions, so just stick around for that.
That's perfect because they're gonna need you.
Yeah. Nick's gonna dog on the film, and I'm just going to flip him the middle finger about 1,000 times.
Yeah.
It's okay.
You're gonna have to do it verbally so they can hear it.
Verbal flipping of the finger.
Fucking Stone Cold just kicks open the door. Fucking middle fingers flying. So, Tasha, do you want to give us a little overview of 13 Ghosts?
I sure do. Give me 1 second. Considering you sent me one from last week, a state-of-the-art remake of the classic William Castle horror film about a family that inherits a spectacular old house from an eccentric uncle. There's just one problem. The house seems to have a dangerous agenda all its own. Trapped in their new home by strangely shifting walls, the family encounters powerful and vengeful entities that threaten to annihilate anyone in their path.
Yeah. Other than it's not an old
really
house.
Good.
It's not an old house though. Like that doesn't come across to me as this being an old house. Does it say old? Like it said old.
I mean, on this review, on this little synopsis, it did say old, but I think you're right. It seemed, well, I mean, it seems very like steampunky.
Oh yeah.
So that's kind of with all the gears and such.
pulleys and a lot of brass and stuff like that.
I would
brass.
I would say like the idea behind it is old because of where it comes from, but like it was just built. So like that's, I don't know. Anyway, okay. But that does give the overview, so that's true.
The original one, I've never seen the original one. I know that it exists and stuff like that, but the original one might have been just like an old house and stuff.
That's
and
true.
That's just kind of how they put the trappings of it anymore. But all right, so let's see here.
Yeah, I didn't know this was a remake.
Yeah, I guess like what was his name? William Castle, I think is what they said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those all three of those movies are William Castle films: Ghost Ship, House on Haunted Hill, and 13 Ghosts. So that's
all remakes?
And they're all remakes. That's what Dark Castle was doing, was they were taking William Castle movies and remaking them.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So I think 13 Ghosts was another, I didn't look it up, but I believe the eccentric uncle character and stuff, I believe it was played by Vincent Price, who was in House on Haunted Hill as well. So he's got that kind of like, oh, well, welcome to my old house. I love Vincent Price. Like,
he was played by F. Murray Abraham.
Yes, yeah. And the only thing I really know him from is he's like the big game hunter in Jumanji.
Yeah.
Like, that's the
yeah.
That's the only thing that I really remembered about from him and stuff. But
is Vincent Price or he the dentist in the Johnny Depp Willy Wonka?
Yeah, yeah, Vincent Price. I believe. No, that's Christopher Lee. That's the guy that plays.
I'm getting way off.
Yeah, Christopher Lee was an old school actor and stuff. He did a lot of horror stuff. He played Dracula and stuff in like the 60s and 70s, but he's also mostly known as Saruman from fucking Lord of the Rings.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Christopher Lee. He also legitimately killed Nazis in World War II, and he legitimately had a metal band like before he passed away and stuff.
What a guy.
He lived a life. Yeah,
Christopher Lee is fucking badass. Like, if you want to like really feel like you haven't done much in your life, just look at what Christopher Lee did with his life and go like, I need to step up my game.
Yeah.
But all right, so what do you girls think in 2001 the budget for 13 Ghosts was?
The budget, a lot of this movie is all back end creation. This isn't practical effects at all. So
I don't know. There's a lot of practical effects in this. The house mostly is practical effects.
I like to think the house was actually a house.
The ghosts are practical effects. There's a lot of camera trickery.
That's true.
With like the edits of cutting in, cutting out, cutting in, cutting out kind of stuff. But like realistically, the stuff that's CG, you can tell is CG, but then like everything else is basically practical.
The joys of early 2000s CG.
Yeah.
I'm just surprised that it wasn't like Rollerball or whatever, and just have like a bunch of new metal playing through the whole movie. Like I was expecting that, and it didn't happen. Well, no, because that was really big.
There was one song that was basically the song in the movie.
Yeah,
which
that was
is a
really
good song.
big. That was really big with like horror films, like in the early 2000s and stuff. Was just like, hey, let's get Korn to play music in it, or Slipknot or whatever.
Oh,
like Queen of the Damned.
Yeah, I was just waiting for like, like, but there was none of that.
No, there wasn't. I wish that because we had to rent this movie because it's not on anything at this point, and we don't own it, and Nick is definitely not down with owning it, as according to him now. But I wish we had all like the extra features for this, because it would have been cool to see how they created this film, including like all the ghosts and stuff, because part of the ghosts were but some of them were really, really well created, and so I'm curious to see how much of that was like, actually added, or if it was like legitimately made by designers and makeup people. So.
All right, so that budget, what do you got?
77 million.
77 million in 2001.
This is why I usually let Steph go first, and I just went for it.
20 million.
$20 million. You guys are both so wrong.
Well, then we're way above. We lost.
No, you guys are like actually way below and way above. Like,
so we're like at 40. Is that what we're at?
Yeah, $42 million was its budget.
That's really high, but okay.
This was made by like Warner Brothers and Universal, or Warner Brothers and Columbia.
So they had
but
big
I know
budgets.
It was Warner Brothers, and there was another one that I saw like in the opening that I was like, oh shit, there's actually two like big name companies involved in this.
Okay.
But for $42 million, this came out October 26, 2001. Okay.
So they actually brought a horror movie out at the right time of the year.
Correct. It came out right before Halloween.
Yes, congratulations.
How much do you think it made for its domestic gross? $240 million. So you think? Hold on. You think this movie made $250 million?
I think that this movie is of its time, and it was popular because of all the other movies that had come out that were part of this like grouping. And I just remember seeing this movie a lot as a kid, so I think it was super popular.
All right.
Yeah.
What do you got, Tasha?
Yeah.
Thank you, Tasha. Nick's over here like, fuck you guys. This movie sucks. It doesn't deserve to make $1.
No, it's not bad at all. You just think that it made $250 million.
I'm going to say slightly less. We'll go with 135 million.
This movie made
This
movie made $68 million.
Oh, that's sad.
After its marketing campaign and stuff, it actually lost money.
Oh,
wow. That's sad. Shocking.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised by that.
I saw this movie. It isn't shocking.
That's not
but
true.
You didn't see it in 200001. That's the difference.
True.
Right. So
Tasha's right.
The weekend that it came out, it actually was second in the box office for its weekend. It made $15 million its opening weekend. It was second behind the Kevin Spacey movie K-Pax. If anybody remembers that, he was like an alien or some shit like that.
Yeah, I saw it. I don't remember a damn thing about it though.
But I remember stuff about 13 Ghosts. So.
The week before this movie, though, there was another horror film that came out that I actually do like, and it's on that line of like it's a thriller, like it's not quite horror.
Are we going down that line today like we did last night?
Well, it's From Hell. From Hell came out the week prior.
Oh, with Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp about
that
Jack
movie's
the Ripper.
amazing. That movie's amazing.
Oh, okay, yeah. I know
so that came out the week before and everything. So it topped it and everything because From Hell came in second and everything. And then the top 5 would be K-Pax, 13 Ghosts, From Hell, Riding in Cars with Boys. Drew Barrymore. Yeah. There you go. And then number 5, I believe its second week. I think both those movies came out, and then I think the next one, Training Day, also came out with Denzel Washington. Came out the week prior as well. So interesting week for movies or kind of like week or two.
Was that the same year that Lord of the Rings came out, like 2 months later? The first one?
2001 would have been, roughly around the same time as the first one.
Yeah, I think so. I'm going to look it up because I'm like, I'm thinking about like Stephanie back then. What kind of movies was I watching? Was I going to the theater regularly? I know I didn't see this in the theater, but I remember watching it a lot. And I know I saw pretty much I was like a big movie fan back then. So we didn't have social media like we do now. So that was what we did.
Get out of your cave there, old lady. Back in my day.
It's true, though. It is the year that the first Lord of the Rings came out.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
But for the year, for 2001, it was the third highest grossing horror film that came out that year. Okay. So for 2013, The Others came out.
Wait, 2013.
2013. Sorry, 2001.
2001.
What the fuck?
Okay.
Oh, 13 Ghosts. Sorry, that's my brain.
You're fine.
Yeah. 2001, The Others came out, and then
I remember that. That's with the Australian lady.
Tom Cruise's ex-wife.
Yeah, Nicole Kidman. She's the main actress in that. Yeah.
Yep. And then Scary Movie 2 came out.
Of course it did.
13 Ghosts, From Hell, Valentine, Brotherhood of the Wolf, John Carpenter's Ghosts of Mars.
Never seen that either.
No, but you've never seen that? Oh,
we already know. Other than The Thing and fucking vampires, I've never seen a John Carpenter film. I don't even think I've seen the original Halloween. So I am definitely not well.
Bones came out that year, which is Snoop Dogg as a vampire.
Oh, yeah. I don't think I've seen that, but I've seen the front cover of that. Yeah.
And then The Forsaken, which I'm not familiar with. And
that's a vampire movie, too, I think.
Okay.
Or a witch movie.
Session 9 came out. And that one's actually pretty decent. It did horrible in the box office, but it's actually a pretty cool movie. It's got can't remember his name, but the guy from CSI that always puts the sunglasses on. And it's like...
Oh... I think you're talking about
redheaded guy. He's in that. It's a cool movie. But yeah, so 2001, in my opinion, not a great year for horror.
No,
but
great year for other movies. Probably not horror. And out of all of those, I would say that From Hell is probably the best out of all of those.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, like I said, Session 9 is pretty good. From Hell's not bad, and I don't remember if I've seen The Others or not.
That wasn't bad.
I know the movie. Like, I already know the quote unquote twist to it and stuff. So that might be why I never watched it, but it is what it is. So let's see here. We do have a listener question posed to us from Larry Martin.
Thank you, Larry, for posing a question.
Yes. Larry asks, I've been listening, really enjoying the podcast. And here's my question to each of you. What, in your mind, makes a good horror movie for you? Blood and gore, suspense, story, jump scares? All right, Larry, we will try our best to answer this. We will start with Stephanie. What do you got?
Oh, what the fuck? Okay. Okay, so what constitutes as a good... I'm just reiterating it like we're taught when we're like in third grade. Just say the question again. Okay, so...
what makes a good horror movie to you? Like, what is it? What makes it...
I like gore. Gore is my jam. I love gore in horror movies. I think that's just... It makes it fun. Yeah, I really do. And I don't know if that just comes back to my love of like vampires and all of that. I don't know. I love vampire horror movies. They're my favorite. But I also am learning to because Nick's exposing me to them. More creature features, they are definitely, with more practical effects, are more enjoyable. I am a plot slut, so definitely give me a good plot. On the occasion, like this movie specifically we just watched, I think that it's not always necessary, but I need to know the why. I think that's my biggest downfall. If you have a bad guy or a situation and there's no good answer of why, I just get frustrated. So plot is definitely important. So gore and plot and good acting, because some people really get down on the cheesy acting, and apart from Evil Dead 2, nothing else can do that. So like, I don't like, there are certain very, very rare movies that can pull that off and be successful. And I am not a Mighty Python watcher or anything like that. And I know that's not horror, but like that kind of humor.
You don't like corny cheese, and it's Monty Python, not Mighty Python.
See, that should tell you that I don't even know. I know
she watches it.
Exactly.
Don't like Monty Python. I wish I would have known this before I married you.
Sorry, honey, but
papers will be served today.
Thank you. That's nice. I hope you like sleeping in the snow. Oh yeah, and that's probably about it. So yeah, and we already know Tasha's suspense is also good. But I think I know what Tasha's is, so I'm excited to see if hers is what I'm anticipating it being. So go,
Tasha.
So when it comes to a good horror movie, suspense and like the twisty turny psychological components are definitely my favorite. I can take or leave the gore. If there's too much of it, I just get taken out of the whole scene. It gets boring to me. But a really good, quick, well-intended, like intentional gore is like top notch. There's a movie we watched recently, and it's like the gore comes and goes really quickly and it's shocking. I like that more so than like slasher, just over and over stabbings or cutting up people or something like that. But if it's quick and shocking, then that's exactly what I like. I love jump scares. I live for jump scares. I don't necessarily care about the plot a lot of times. Throw me into a setting and I'm good to go. I don't tend to ask a lot of questions about like plot holes or things like that because it doesn't matter. I'm usually like feeling like the emotion, and that's what I'm there for.
All right.
That's true. That's what I anticipated. I figured she'd be like, no, do not give me that gore. But I agree. Like, I don't like slasher stuff either that much because I feel like it's just too overdone. It's repetitive. I think you need to keep it fresh and keep it moving.
Like there's a spot in Green Room that it gets bloody, but it's perfect.
Are you talking about the arm through the door scene?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we just watched another movie the other day and it was just like a quick jab to the throat. Like you don't see it coming and it was beautifully done and stuff like that I'm happy with. But when it's just like blood and guts everywhere.
What movie was it? Jab to the throat.
It's called Beta.
Okay. I have not seen that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty good.
Okay, honey, your turn. Answer the question.
Yeah, for me, it depends. Like, okay, so it's kind of a nuanced question for me. So it's like, what makes a good horror movie for me? Realistically, it depends on what the movie is trying to do. So I like very serious horror. I like very corny B horror. So it's a lot of like, if it's done properly, I'm kind of down for a lot of things. But I don't like PG-13 necessarily. I always feel like they're pulling punches then. The whole point of a horror film for me is to be shocked or like challenged in some way. Like I'm not a slasher fan per se. I know that we keep saying that, like all three of us say that, but it's because for the most part, slashers are color by numbers in a way.
They are.
But when a film like turns it on its head or something, it can be interesting. So originality of story can be a definite like, oh, I've never heard about this. Like for instance, Wesley and I went and saw Night Swim this past week. He really liked it. I was pretty lukewarm on it, but the premise of the movie was enough for me to go, you know what? If they remade this in the right hands and stuff like that, the bones are really good. So I'll give movies flowers when I think it's deserving. Practical effects through the roof. If you're going to fucking put people in rubber suits and we're going to blow up things and arms are going to get ripped off and all this kind of stuff. As long as it's practical, I'm down. I can pick out CG, not all the time, because some people are really, 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 really good at that. But like nothing takes me out of a movie harder than fake violence. And like that sounds fucked up, but like if it's computer generated blood and gore and stuff like that, I'm out. I'm just not into it. But if it's gonna be like some stockings full of wet newspaper and red Jello, and you're gonna like, even if it's like super super cheap and then you can tell it's cheap, but people worked really hard at doing that, I have a higher appreciation for that. So yeah, like, I'm not a jump scare person though.
I'm not either.
9 times out of 10 though, my reason for not being a jump scare person is specifically like how a lot of them are done. I will cite James Wan. There's always a music cue that builds to it, so it kind of blows its load before it happens. So there are well done jump scares in the past. I feel though that it's been overdone so much that you already kind of know it's going to come and everything, but that's just me. Like, I'm that person. Like, it doesn't work on me. It doesn't work on me either. I've been jump scared recently even, and it was done well. And it was actually from a movie. I was kind of surprised that it did it. I watched, what was it? Insidious 3 with Wes. And I didn't really care for the first 2 of those. The third one though was actually good. And that one actually got me twice. It actually made me jump twice, like physically jump. Wes physically jumps at every horror movie we watch. But that made me jump twice, and I was actually shocked. Like, I got a couple points for that. I was like, holy shit, like, they actually did a really good job. And it was because there wasn't a musical cue and stuff. And it was just like, oh shit, like that kind of, it worked really well. But for me, what makes a good horror film is originality, practical effects, a cohesive story. It does not have to tie up every loose end and everything, but it has to make sense in its own like building, as it were. Yeah,
its own world has to make sense. Unless
it's just trying to be crazy and over the top, like something like Reanimator or something where it's just like, this is just going to be ridiculous.
But that movie still makes sense in its world, even though it's ridiculous.
But what I'm saying is, like, going into that movie, like in the first like 5-10 minutes, like, oh, this movie is not going to be a serious movie. So knowing that, I can just be like, okay, like, I'm not going to be so critical of this film. But when a movie is trying to be really serious and stuff like that, and it just fucking misses on it nonstop, I have a real hard time with that. So that's where I was saying, like, it depends on what the movie is attempting to be or whatever. I will base it off of that. If this is going to be Cabin in the Woods, which is like a satire of horror and stuff like that, I'm going to judge it in that realm. If this is going to be a very serious, like A24, like Green Room, for instance, where it's a very tense movie, it better fucking be tense, because if it doesn't meet that bar, it's going to be lame. So for me, what makes a good horror film: cohesive story, original in some facet, like, and practical effects. That's what does it for me. I will watch about anything as long as you do that. And rated R. Or not even rated, but don't give me a PG-13 horror film. Like, please don't.
But I think there are certain horror films that are under, like, they're PG-13 because they are supposed to be to a younger audience. Actually makes sense. So, like, the Gremlins, that was a really cute movie. That's a horror movie, technically.
Yeah, but that's not for, like, what makes a good horror film for me?
Yeah.
That's the question.
Yeah.
So,
something else that I wanted to... Oh, sorry. Something else I wanted to add to mine is having a cast that aren't, like, the cast members aren't known in a lot of things. I don't like being able to recognize a lot of the cast members, because then that takes me out of it. I want to be in it with them. So having unknown people do it really helps with that.
Correct. Yeah. And so, like, in this film, with knowing, like, actually, like, Shannon Elizabeth's in it, like, it's actually a pretty, like, for, like, B tier status, like, star-studded cast. Like, it just, I don't know, like, I 100% agree with that. Like, going in and not knowing anybody and everything, you don't have any preconceived notions of how they're going to act or what you can base them against. Like, for instance, like Matthew Lillard, instantly going into this film, my brain goes, Scream, Scooby-Doo. Like, that's what my brain goes to. Like Shaggy and Stu.
He's typecasted in all of his movies. So like his personality, if you're going into this movie, he doesn't have a large range because that's what he does. That is his specific niche.
His range, though, like, not to like, this is not spoilery or anything, but his range is really weird in this movie because there are times in this movie that I think he did a good job. There are times in this movie that he is overacting so bad, like, in my opinion. Like, it's just, I
think it was intentional.
I was gonna say, I think that's from the director and stuff like that, because I can base him against other films he's been in. The way that I always kind of look at that is like the prequel Star Wars films. I've seen like those people like play in other films. I've seen Samuel L. Jackson. I've seen Ewan McGregor. I've seen Natalie Portman. I've seen Keira Knightley. I've seen all those people. Keira Knightley plays Natalie Portman's like side, like that's the person that pretends to be her. Yeah, if you didn't know that, I know.
I didn't know that.
But I don't watch those movies anyway, so I don't have anything.
But like I've seen those people act, and then like they play in the Star Wars films and stuff. Specifically the prequels, they're so like emotionless and stuff like that, and you can tell that that's from direction. Like these people are fucking great actors, and George Lucas can suck all of my dick.
Them.
Like, I don't mind Star Wars, but people need to get off their fucking high horses on that shit.
Just watch The Mandalorian, and that's all you need.
Mandalorian's fucking great.
Yeah.
Star Wars is what it is. I mean, it's not for everybody. It's one of those things that came out at a certain time. It's the same thing about Kiss. People fucking put Kiss up on a pedestal, and it's because they fucking put face paint on, and they came out in the 70s, and there weren't any other options.
Well, you're talking about originality, and I think that's what a lot of that brings. Star Wars is original, Kiss is original, and so they're bringing something to the world.
Star Wars is a bastardized ripoff of fucking Dune, and everyone knows it.
With Star Wars, they just started to like beat a dead horse.
Oh, that's what they've definitely gotten to.
Yeah, it's just a cash cow. So the originals, the original ones were. I mean, he created an entire universe.
Yeah.
But now it's just kind of
him and his
perpetuating.
Wife. There's a lot of that kind of stuff that I really don't fucking like about George Lucas. So.
I didn't know that. Anyway, this isn't a podcast about Star Wars.
Yeah, there's going to be a game episode about Nick being wrong about Star Wars, but still not liking it.
Yeah.
I mean, I like it. I've just got a bad relationship with Star Wars. Anyway.
Okay. On to our reviews.
Yeah, so...
I have one correction. The movie I was referring to isn't beta. It's called The Beta Test.
Oh, okay. Okay. Right on.
All right. So what are we doing first? Are you wanting the 1 star today because it would align with your feelings?
Hold the fucking door.
Whatever Nick wants.
What the fuck are you talking about? You got something to say over there, Tasha?
She already
said it. I said what I needed to say.
The floor's all yours. Come on, come get some. No, okay, but no. This is a movie club. From at the end of the episode, like the last 5-10 minutes or so, we'll tell you what we're going to watch for
listen to.
Yes, shut the fuck up. We're going to tell you what we're going to watch for next week's episode and stuff. So beyond this point is spoiler territory. If you have not seen 13 Ghosts and you want to see it, the two ladies over here, they like it.
We didn't say that.
Well, they like it more than me.
Yes.
There we go.
Put it that
That's
way.
Pretty obvious.
Yes.
So don't take my word as gospel on it, but if you have seen it, stick around and listen to me be wrong the whole time.
Yes, always.
And hopefully this goes well. So 13 Ghosts.
So if you want to be a part of our club, you can find us at facebook.com/podofthedead or else on Instagram at pod_of_the_dead or on TikTok at podofthedead. If you want to email us any questions, any complaints, or movie recommendations, you can email us at podofthedead666@gmail.com.
Yeah, let's go with our reviews. Which review should it be? Let's go with our 10 out of 10. Let's do the 10 out of 10 first.
Okay, Tasha.
All right. Okay. In all caps, I absolutely adore this film. 4
Yay!
exclamation points.
They are serious.
Yeah.
Stoked.
This film is by far one of my favorite movies. It's
Stop.
Stop. That's what they said.
Stop.
That's what they said.
Tasha, stop reading out of your diary.
We don't yuck other people's yums here. Sorry, honey.
Right.
Shush.
No, she's supposed to be reading a review. She's reading her own diary.
Well, let her do her thing.
All right, go ahead. Sorry.
It's probably in my top 10 horror films of all time.
What the fuck? Tasha, stop it.
Maybe you'll appreciate the third sentence. It's the perfect amount of cheese mixed with some pretty scary looking ghosts.
Okay, I get that.
Yeah, okay. It doesn't take itself seriously, and that's one of the things that makes this so brilliant. I would also like to let you know that every sentence ends with at least 1 exclamation point.
Literally screaming at the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I wasn't so congested, I would totally just give it all, but I don't have it in me today. If they had gone for the full-on gore and scares without the humorous touch, it probably would have been terrible. I can't understand the low reviews, because if you watch it expecting a fun film rather than something terrifying, you will surely enjoy it. I 100% agree with that.
Me too.
I, all caps, love my horror films and watch pretty much anything, and I always find myself coming back to this time and time again. Highly recommend.
Okay, all right.
Mic drop.
So, see, where they talked about expecting, if you're expecting it to be serious and stuff. I didn't. I was comparing this specifically to like House on Haunted Hill and stuff like, which I actually didn't know was made by the same company. I just knew that they were like in that same wheelhouse. Steph and I had talked about House on Haunted Hill, 13 Ghosts, and The Haunting. Like those 3 movies for some reason like kind of revolve around each other. So I'd seen the other 2, and The Haunting is definitely a more serious horror film. So I knew because it's not, it is cheesy, but it's not as cheesy. But like House on Haunted Hill, like it's got fucking Chris Kattan from fucking like, he's in it and everything. So you kind of know like coming into it, like that it's going to be there's like a lot of levity to it and everything. So I knew that going into this, but
I didn't take this movie that way, I guess. I mean, I didn't think it was like funny, haha, but I didn't take it like, I don't know. I guess I thought this was a little more mildly serious, but not, I don't know.
I didn't take it as a fun movie, that's for sure. No. But knowing that Matthew Lillard's in it, I knew that there was going to be some like sarcasm and some like, what's the word? Yeah, just like some sarcasm attached to it and some like lack of seriousness tied to it.
Well, between him and the lady who's supposed to be the babysitter in this movie, they were adding that like levity to a serious plot. I think that was like what you were getting out of it. So, but I did not go into this thinking or watching it being like, this is a funny movie or whatever. I felt too serious for that, in my personal opinion. So, all right, we're on to the 1 out of 10. Let's see.
My people.
This is pretty long. So, okay.
As they are.
Yeah.
They always are so angry.
They are.
Where Tasha's 10 out of 10 reviews, they get a lot of punctuation. You get a lot of words with the 1 out of 10.
You get a lot of paragraphs.
And they're like breaking stuff down very specifically in this. So let's see how this goes. I haven't read this yet. I preface this every single time when we're starting this. So I'm new to this. You guys are new to this.
So this review will be the podcast.
Yeah.
3 days later.
Yeah. For a second outing from Dark Castle Productions' House on Haunted Hill remake being the first, this movie was boring and dull. No doubt the effects of the house and the CGI of the ghosts were worthwhile and chilling. As for the actors, everyone was wonderful, especially Matthew Lillard and F. Murray Abraham. Abraham was in a role that the late Vincent Price would have been at home in. The characters for the rest of the cast were dull characters. You couldn't care for them that much. In the beginning, you did, finding out that their mother died and the loss of their house and now living in a tenement with a housekeeper. Tenement. Okay. How can you afford a housekeeper? That is true.
I thought that very much so.
Yeah,
that is true. But I almost wonder.
He didn't have any money set back, is what he says, but he's paying a housekeeper to do nothing.
Well, I
to
wonder,
hang out with the kids while he's home.
Doesn't cook, doesn't do windows, just is
but
sassy.
does she just live there and like maybe she needs a place to live, and so like that's their. We don't
paid.
know their.
They say like she's getting paid and everything.
It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't. That part doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But the children are brats. They don't listen. It makes you dislike them automatically. You forget about their mother's dead. The daughter, Shannon Elizabeth, is only eye candy in the movie. The son is morbid. He reads obituaries into his little recorder, disturbing, and the housekeeper who doesn't do any work.
Yeah, the kid is literally like little Dahmer. Like,
he's my least favorite character in this movie.
Really?
Least favorite?
Mm-hmm.
I honestly, I think the housekeeper is my least favorite.
Tony Shalhoub.
Tony Shalhoub? Really?
Tony Shalhoub. We'll get into that later.
Okay.
I didn't mind the boy. I mean, his mom died, so he's like fascinated with death.
She's lucky. If that was my kid, I would want to be dead too.
Jesus!
Oh my God! Shut your mouth. That's so mean.
Wow!
Kid sucks.
Jeez. He does suck, but it's not. My thing isn't his dark. It has nothing to do with his darkness or anything. It has to do with just he's annoying.
That super rad scooter that he takes everywhere.
Yeah, they're right in this that the kids don't listen for shit.
Well,
like
I don't understand.
I mean, they're in a brand new house with a bunch of cool stuff. Who wouldn't want to go explore?
But I also don't understand like why his daughter, who literally looks like she's in her 20s, is just still. I don't know. I don't fucking keep on.
Yeah,
keep on.
These qualities make you dislike them. They had more redeeming characteristics. You would like them. The only member of the family that you like is the father. He's trying to do the best he can. He is an average Joe trying to support his family and get in life but in life missing his wife in the process. The film could have been better than it was. I highly recommend the original 13 Ghosts, or if you want a scare, try the House on Haunted Hill remake, The Haunting, or even The Legend of Hell House.
Oh, I've never seen that one. So
this review was actually extremely nice. Like they were not going for the jugular. They were like very concise and they were actually nice. I'm applauding them, even though it wasn't as entertaining as the other ones.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like a 1-star review.
No.
It was just calling out its faults in the movie. I mean, I completely agree with that review in the sense of that.
You got a problem with Tony Shalhoub in this movie, Tasha?
I always have a problem with Tony Shalhoub.
You don't like Tony Shalhoub?
I don't like him. The only thing I liked him in was that really the 90s Wings. Yes, I liked him in Wings. But in this movie, I think he is like, he's whiny, he's judgy. He keeps referring to his son as the kid.
I know, I've got that written down. Tony refers to his son as the kid a lot. What the fuck?
Yeah. And then he's like, I'm doing anything I can for my children. Like, well, maybe refer to them as their name to start. I don't know. But yeah, through the whole movie, I think he's kind of overacting in some cases, but if he's not overacting and that's his character, I wouldn't want to be friends with him.
Yeah,
I agree. I don't like him in this movie either, really.
I thought he was possibly, like, considering the circumstances and everything, like if we take the movie as reality or whatever, he was the most believable character, I felt. Like I don't
think so with that either.
Looking at every other, like, you got the two kids that are just super, like, not annoying, like, because they're kids, are just like written as just super fucking annoying. The housekeeper is the same way, where it's like, this would, what the fuck? Like, it doesn't come off as funny, like her quippy, like there are so many fucking one-liners in this movie that it made me cringe.
Well, the thing with the housekeeper, and this is what bothers me about it, I feel like they're playing into a stereotype.
Oh, they were. They totally were.
I do not appreciate that in this. Like, it didn't add value.
How hard they were playing.
Yeah, that part doesn't age well. That's for sure.
How hard they were playing into that stereotype.
Terrible.
How hard they were playing into that stereotype. I legitimately thought she was going to be the first to die. I thought that's how they were playing it. I was like, we're going to do like every little like cliche and everything, and then we're just going to offer and like first off, like right up. I thought that's how they were going to play it.
That doesn't happen at all. And then she ends up being the hurrah at the end. And it was kind of like, that was cheesy in itself. But It's a movie and it was entertaining. That's the way I look at it. And I love the way this movie starts. Like, it's one of my favorite ways to have a movie start. I think it's very entertaining and it draws you in immediately into the storyline.
Yeah. I think if it would have kept that energy through the movie, it would have been more entertaining. But the fact that it starts off with like this, like basically like almost like Resident Evil level like action scene of like fucking this ghost like fucking everybody up in this was it junkyard and stuff. Yeah. I was like, oh, all right, okay, this is interesting. And like, you know, you get a little bit of Matthew Lillard in there and everything, and it's like, okay. But then it gears so far down to like basically just like watching Tony Shalhoub's life around him fade away and all this stuff. And I
liked that.
Did you like that?
Yeah, I liked how they did that with the credits, because then you're not watching it. It's giving you a synopsis in a quick way instead of having like 5 scenes of it happening.
Yeah, I get that, but what I'm saying is like you've got like this like literal bombastic thing, and it never gets to that point ever again in the film. Like I don't agree. There are like bigger action scene kind of things in there, but I don't think any of them even touch like that amount of like intensity, because everything else that comes after it, like, yes, there's one cool kill in the rest of the film, and then I don't know, like if you're looking for death count, you're only getting that really in the beginning. I was looking for about anything. It wasn't even about death count. I was looking for I hear these ghosts are supposed to be really cool looking, right?
They are really cool looking.
There are 2, in my opinion, that were cool looking, and there's a
ton of them.
Yeah, I think a lot of them look really neat.
Mm-hmm. The torso was cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
Give them that one, and then the other one that I thought was cool. Which one was it?
Describe it.
I can see it. Oh God, it's like the adult sized baby and the small person. Yeah, I liked those 2. The rest of them I just didn't care about, because like this was something that like they could have like, I'm one of those people that's like, I want practical effects, right? These practical effects with the ghost makeups and stuff were so like cartoonishly exaggerated that to me it didn't come off as scary or cool. It was just overdone for the ones that they showed us a lot. Like the ones that you didn't see a lot were the more interesting ones, I thought, like the little boy with like the arrow through his head and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't like that one. That was boring.
I'm just saying those are a lot better makeup things. The one with like all the railroad spikes in him and stuff looks really fucking dumb to me. The jackal one with like the caged head.
That's amazing.
I liked that one.
I like that one a lot.
Would look cool if we didn't fucking have the camera in her face all the time. If it was like shot in a different way, but it's so prevalent that it just looks kind of dorky to me.
No, I liked all of those. The arrow boy, he was one of the ones I thought was a little boring, but the torso was amazing.
The torso was cool. I liked that
one. I liked that was actually my favorite. The mom and the baby was a really good size difference plus kind of grotesque. I liked that.
It was a carnival sideshow look to it. That's what I liked there. But yeah, like the jackal, when they're like talking about it and stuff, it's like, oh, the jackal's here, and then like it's, I don't know. I expected it to be a lot more menacing looking or whatever, and it just came off to me like a really bad Resident Evil character.
Okay. Resident Evil I think has good characters too, so I can't say anything.
I'm talking specifically about the games where like most of the bosses and stuff have like gimmicky looks and stuff like that. And, like that's just kind of what it was. It was just like, oh, this one's got a cage on its head. It's like, but does it do anything different? Nope, she's just gonna run and scratch at you. I'm like, oh, okay.
I liked all of those. There's very few of the ghosts that I didn't like. Like I didn't care for the boy, but I thought the jackal was really cool. The guy with the railroad spikes, yes, he's over exaggerated, but I liked that about him.
Right, me too.
I liked the prince, which is with the baseball bat. I really liked his interactions, and I loved, and I don't know why I loved this, the creepy naked woman that's like supposed to be the princess or whatever they called her.
Yeah.
I loved the scene scene when we finally get into the house and the daughter's in the bathroom, and then there's just blood all over the bathroom, and on the floor it says "I'm sorry," and then she's in there like bathing in the tub, which is full of blood. But from her perspective as the ghost versus like the human part, I love that scene, and I really like that ghost just because she's very interesting.
I like her face. I like her face and stuff, but like, and obviously I'm not a prude or anything, but like, she's like nude and she's got like these large lacerations on her and stuff, and those just they don't look good to me. And it's another one of those things that like, if they didn't just sit the camera on her all the time, if it was like more like in shadows or something, I think it would be creepier if that's what they were trying to do. But like, it just doesn't come up. Like, if it's, I don't know the tone that it's attempting to, because I don't think it's hitting any of them.
Okay.
Gotcha.
What do you think, Tasha?
I liked the scene, the bathroom scene. I think it was too long though, how much the daughter is like spending time in the water. That you could have taken out like 5-10 seconds of that and it would have been better. I really liked, I don't know if you guys noticed, but like the facial expressions of the princess when she's in the bathroom, she almost looks concerned. Mm-hmm. She doesn't look like she's out to hurt anybody. She looks like scared almost. And I thought that was really cool. And like, obviously I don't care to know like everything that happened, because that would take like a million years to learn everyone's stories, but there's like some look of like concern or fear when she's in the bathroom. So I thought that was really cool. It adds like an extra layer instead of like, oh, she's just out to kill people, because based on the theory of the movie, she could have killed the daughter right there, but she didn't.
Well, but she does end up swinging on her right then and there when Shalhoub pulls her away from the water or whatever.
Oh, yeah, like, that's true. Forgot about that part.
So, like, they could have explained more about these ghosts and stuff, and the time would have been fine, the same, because there is an insane amount of expository dialogue in this movie where it's just like, oh, you didn't know this, and then they just explain shit nonstop. Yeah. We even, like, by the end of the film, we get like a fucking recap of the film up to the point of what's happening. Like,
that's true. I think that's stupid. Like,
there's like a half hour of this film. Yeah, there's a half hour of this film that they probably could have cut out because of how much plotting around in slow-mo they put in. Like, every fucking scene seems like there's like a slow-mo scene of just a person walking into a room. Oh, this is so good. All this kind of shit that was not necessary. They could have filled that with actually more explanation of the ghost, the thing that people want to see in this film. But like, they just keep plotting around and everything, and just like, I would do anything for my wife, and we just keep getting the same thing over and over. So that kind of shit drove me fucking nuts in this movie, because I kept checking my phone like, this movie's got to be about over, right? And like, nope, we're halfway through it. I was like, Jesus Christ. Like, it wasn't like it was smart, like intelligently done, where it's like, oh, I didn't notice that. It's like, we're just going to keep information from you and then give it to you later in the film, like it's supposed to be some like revelation. And it's like, well, no, actually, this book has all of these ghosts in it, and we're going to just show you pictures of it, show the ghosts, and that's it. We're not going to explain anything about them. So it's all style, no substance. Like, from the house, the ghost, that's all it is. And like, the fact that there isn't just corn or something playing in the background of this movie is shocking to me, that it's not just like dun 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 dun. It's like ghost boobs.
Without corn though, it is a very loud movie.
Yeah, it is.
I think I wasn't a huge fan of that.
No.
It was like jarring with all of the like the background noises and then just like jarring sounds. And maybe it's because I've seen it a million times. I bet when I was younger that got me and like spooked me, but now it's just like added noise that I didn't necessarily need.
Yeah.
But I would have liked, like you said, I would have liked to have a little bit more, I guess, about the ghosts, because they come from such vast like timelines, like the pilgrim versus the prince versus can we talk about the widow for a second?
Yeah. Which one's the widow?
The mom, and she's not the widow.
Oh.
I really had a hard part with that one.
Oh, I thought
the burn victim, the mom. It's something like the wounded widow or something like that.
It
was her title.
I think it was like the something lover.
Something lover. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then I just misunderstood. No, but when I heard that bothered me.
Yeah, no, it's something about lover. It's like it might very well be the scorched lover. or something to that extent.
Yeah, the other one that was good in this was the Juggernaut. I liked his character in this. Like, we see him in the beginning, and then we see him again later on, and he kind of destroys. And I liked the way he looked in this. But the only thing I liked that they had a twist with the woman that was in the house. That was entertaining. I thought where you think she's on your side, she's not on your side. So I completely forgot about that. So that was good. But yeah, this movie, I just like it because you get to watch the ghosts. Like, yeah, I agree. Like them walking through this house and getting like familiar with it and all of that just seems like filler. And when we could just get to know these ghosts a little bit more and have more backstory and relationship with them specifically, because this is my argument with any movie that's like spending too much time talking about the humans when we aren't here to watch the humans. We're here to watch the extra entities, whether that be monsters or whatever it is, aliens, whatever. And this movie does spend a little bit too much time on the backstory, and I don't like that. But I love Matthew Lillard's character in this. It's amazing.
Considering like what they do show at times. So the coolest scene in this movie is when the lawyer gets vertically bisected by glass.
Yes.
So good.
That is cool. That is cool as fuck. So we know that this movie can, and by its ratings, can be visceral. It can be violent and stuff like that. It's the only time it really fucking happens, though.
In the beginning.
Nothing like that, though. So that happened with him. Right. So it set this tone that I was like, oh shit, we're going to get some like gnarly stuff going on. From that point forward, you don't get anything else. Like you don't like, you get some scratches here and there.
You get Matthew Lillard bent in half.
Yeah, you do get him kind of crushed in half. So that was all right. But I was really expecting.
But yeah, nothing beats the bisected body.
Like,
and then the slow drip.
Yeah, that was cool. But then there was like some things like this movie literally, it's almost like it had like a list of cliches in front of it and it decided to do all of them because like I'm not going to go down the whole list, but like the whole thing of like they literally like walk to a point and they're just like, hey, let's split up. And it's just like, are you fucking serious? Like, and it's not like they naturally split up somehow. Like they do kind of do that later on with like how the house moves and some people do get split, but they literally get to a crossroads and they go, you go that way, you go that way, I'll go this way. And it's like, this is fucking dumb.
And then Tony Shalhoub didn't even follow his own rule of like, just go down the hall and turn around and come back.
And then there were like two huge things that I don't understand the rules, I guess, of this house. So they take a pane of glass from the wall and use it to block stuff. So you can do that to any of the walls, or what?
They're really lucky that no ghost came from behind them.
Yeah, very confused there. And then secondly, I think it's like right around that time when they're like downstairs and they're trying to like climb up to get to the other room and stuff, and there's a ghost like chasing them down, and one of them's climbing up, but then Tony Shalhoub's still stuck downstairs, and they miraculously save him and pull him out. There's nothing blocking that ghost from coming up after them. Why does it not? Why does it not go up after? Like, do these ghosts, are they
only
not able
stairs?
To fly? They just fucking walk around and they need stairs and elevators. Like, there's just a lot of that kind of stuff that I was like, I don't understand like the laws or rules that they're trying to build in here. But
the wall thing makes sense to me because it's supposed to be used as a shield, essentially. Well, because it has writing on it to help.
I understand what they're using it for. I just don't understand, like, how are you able? Like, they were just like, I know what we'll do, and they just pulled a sheet of glass off the wall, and it's like, so could you just pulled instead of having to traverse this place and things are closing on you, could you just pull the glass down and fucking walk through? Like, what was so special about that? Like, I understand that you probably couldn't just pull it off the wall and go out of the building, but maybe you could, because the one lady was like, oh, the place shifted and that's how I got in here.
Dude,
and everything.
That drove me nuts. How she just wandered in. It's closed now. Don't worry about it. Like, that's the word.
I don't think she was being honest though, because she's the bad guy in this. So I think she was lying. I think she was there the whole time, just like the other dude. I think they were both there.
Oh, good point.
I get that, but it is shifting and stuff. And like, if you're able to just take the panes of glass down with no tools or anything, because you can't break them with chairs, but you can just pull them out of their sockets. Like, I was just really fucking.
Was it one of the doors? Did he just take it off its hinges?
No, they just like point and they just fucking have it. And they're just walking around like it's a tower shield. And I was like,
Right.
Okay, I guess that's what we're doing now. And then Shaloub gets cornered in it while Lillard gets fucking killed. It's no,
Poor Matthew
Lillard.
I also didn't like but right before that scene when they were talking and the camera was going through the glass and they're like showing their faces. Technically, we shouldn't have been able to hear any of that because Matthew Lillard made a really good point to say, like, this is so thick, you can't hear anyone scream.
It's all soundproof and everything. And then it literally is happening, I think, in that scene.
Right.
And then the camera is on the other side of the glass. And I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? Now,
follow your own physics.
If the, like, and this is where I'm saying the tone is hard for me to understand. If it is supposed to be that unbelievable, there are other times where they're just like, no, we can't do that because of laws. But like, it's so all over the place. Like it needs to stay in a lane, and I think it's trying to do too much from like a production standpoint, where it's like, we're going to be funny, but we're going to be shocking. We're going to add a little bit of gore here, and we're going to do this. And they're trying to get too many people into the theater to watch it. But by doing so, you don't do anything well. You just do a lot of things.
Yeah, I think that they could have definitely tightened it up a bit and spent a little bit more time building the plot instead of like literally info dumping on us in various spots and then redoing the same info dump later on, which was very annoying. The thing that I argued with the most with myself in this movie was like, who trusts some random dude showing up to your house when you're home, but you're supposed to be out taking care of your kids, but then you have a lady there that's supposed to take care of your kids, but you don't have enough money to pay for any of your stuff. But then she doesn't do anything but sit at your table and talk. And then you have your daughter over here cooking, and this random lawyer shows up to tell you have a family member that died, and now you have a house, and then you go to this house, and then you randomly are now immediately moving in and doing all of this.
That's how early 2000s movies work.
I know.
I'm sorry. If a fucking lawyer gives me that key and it goes in that lock, I'm not fucking walking in that house. Like, oh, look, this house is just made of glass. Okay, look at this fucking, like, it literally just looks like a puzzle box, like, that it's going into. It's like, how fucking dumb. Like, I'd just be like,
I would totally walk in that house.
This is what I thought, like, going into it when he's like walking in and like checking everything out. I'd just be like, all right, cool. So this is mine. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm out. I need to go get a realtor. I'm going to sell this place because obviously I work 2 hours from here at a school because I'm a math teacher. I can't afford the taxes on this place. I've already said that. I'm going to sell this fucking house. I'm going to have fucking the American Pickers come over and buy all this fucking brass. And we're going to fucking like live like kings wherever the fuck else 2 hours away from here.
But the lawyer said he didn't have to worry about money. That part is also wrapped up.
Well, then he was worried about his fucking son. I think that it would have been better off. He's like, you know what? That little bastard could go fuck off somewhere else. We're out of here. He should have just left both of his kids and his housekeeper there and just fucked off.
No, I don't agree with that. But when they walked up and they were like, this house is beautiful or something, I was like, who sees this house and says, yeah, that's beautiful, and I'm not creeped the fuck out? I don't. I thought it looked creepy as hell. I'm like, no.
Nothing about it seems creepy.
Because it looks creepy doesn't mean it's not beautiful.
I didn't think it was creepy. I just thought it was just overly opulent and stuff like that. I didn't think it was creepy. I just thought of it as like a beautiful art piece. You know, like that's how it looked to me.
But it's like, not, to me, it's not a home. It's an art piece.
Yeah, and that's why I would have sold it, because there ain't no goddamn way that little shitty kid on his fucking Razor scooter gonna get fingerprints all over my goddamn glass walls. Fuck that kid.
Yeah, it was, like I said, this movie does have some holes in it, let's just say the least, but I still find it, for whatever reason, especially that opening scene and then some other scenes throughout, very entertaining. And I love Matthew Lillard's character in this. He's funny. He also is like over the top, like he always is, but then and part of it makes a lot of sense. Like, I love the scenes where, because he's like a psychic or whatever he is, he touches people, he can see their history, their past, and then he can feel these ghosts. And I love that. And he takes medication to like dull the senses. And I like that about him. And so like when he touches people, he gets a headache and he's like laying on the floor. So I felt like all of that was very on par for like his character. And then he's trying to help people in this house. And even though he's like, I'll just pay you all your money, like none of y'all want to die. The thing that I I didn't like about this was that it talks about in the book or whatever that each ghost gets released at a specific time, and they should have played into that more. Like there should have been a chiming, or there should have been a something that where we as the viewer was like, this is number one, the first ghost goes, and then we're waiting on edge to see when the next one gets released. And so then we're building up to like a fever pitch of getting all 13 ghosts out and then what they do to wreak havoc in this house. And I felt like that was severely lacking because they were just randomly getting let free. We didn't have any understanding other than them showing us this like locking mechanism in a room. They showed us like 3 or 4 times, and you could see where the number had moved, like the little pointer had moved. Symbol. Yeah. But other than that, like, or like the spinny thing, it would show us in the middle of the floor, but that doesn't tell us a whole lot. Like,
yeah,
I mean, we don't read that. We don't read Latin. It was just, I don't know. That was really lacking for me in the plot.
Yeah, because it kept showing the spinny floors over and over again, and now how they linked. But yeah, we didn't know which symbol equaled which ghost really until the very, very end.
True.
Well, what you girls will probably be kind of excited about, considering that's what you want or need or whatever, is it might be coming out this year. They're making a television series out of this. Okay. So they definitely, and it's like, if it's by Warner Brothers, who has it, that means it's going to go to Max, because that's who owns that. So there'll probably be some decent budget behind it, and they might actually flesh that stuff out about the ghosts.
Is it going to be made by Mike Flanagan?
God, I hope not.
This is like right up his alley, though.
He's at Amazon.
House with ghosts?
Could it have a mirror?
But the Fall of the House of Usher was supposed to be his last series on Netflix. Maybe it's because he's pivoting over to Max to do 13 Ghosts.
No, he's going to Amazon. He's already working there. Sorry.
Right,
sorry to burst your bubble.
I got very excited.
Keep your pants on, Tasha. But but like, okay, there's just a couple more things that I have to say about this movie, and I'll stop dogging on it. First off, love is the most powerful energy. That's how you can stop this. It was so that's such lazy cheesy writing.
Yeah. That whole premise was dumb.
Yes, I
didn't like that part. Yeah.
But then also they don't explain at all these fucking 3M safety glasses with little lights on the side and how they work. But like, you wear them, like, so this is what I understand with how it should work, right? You wear these, you can see the ghosts, right? That's it. But for some reason in the editing, no matter whether they're wearing glasses or not, every single fucking time we show these ghosts, we just have to keep doing jump edits of them disappearing, appearing, even if they're wearing the glasses. So am I led to believe that even while wearing the glasses, they disappear and stuff? Or is that just flashy editing? Either way, after they did it the first time, I don't think they needed to do it ever again. It made it like set like, hey, this is what, they kind of are like this, but then they just kept doing that. And I found it to be annoying.
I think it's like an apparition. Like they can appear and then they can disappear to move to another spot, or they can disappear to just like, I don't know, go away.
But like the glasses make it like, once you put the glasses on, you can see them. Like that's kind of what we're told, like when they're downstairs and they put it on. But like they'll be wearing the glasses, they'll be just one person, but they just keep showing the ghost appear and disappear. So
but we're not in the first person perspective. We're from a third person perspective. So our view is not their view.
Oh, I'm not gonna fucking buy into that shit by any means, because like they don't, like, you can't see them at all without the glasses. They make that very well known when the girl's getting drug up by the jackal and everything like that. But like when they're wearing the glasses, like it's just overdone. Like if they did it once, I'd be fine with it. But it's just one of those things.
I like that aspect of this. I felt like, I think it would have been.
It would have been too busy, I think, if the ghosts were always just like wandering around the basement.
Yep.
Well, no, just show, like, if you're showing them, show them. Stop making them appear, disappear, appear, disappear, appear, disappear. Like as they're walking towards you. That's what I'm talking about. They just keep doing that. Like I'm not saying that like they need to just be, like they just keep doing that every single time. And I'm just like, am I supposed to believe that that's what you're seeing? Or because like they don't explain the glasses. Like that's the thing. If they explained a little bit of the glasses, but no, we have to have a, hey, remember through this whole movie recap and stuff. Like they worry about giving us that information, but not explaining the ghosts, not explaining the glasses, not explaining anything that actually matters.
But I mean, you get the gist of the idea of the glasses. You put them on, you see the ghosts.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, you get the gist, but like then they just do stupid editing shit, and I fucking hate this movie. God damn it.
There you go. It was just a new like technique that Warner Brothers figured out, and they just wanted to do it a bunch in the movie.
That is
Just leave it at
100%.
that.
That is definitely like that. Like I said, with like the cliche stuff, it's like we found out these things. We're just going to do it all the way into the ground.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So there's two things in this movie. One, I want to get your guys' perspective on because I still am struggling with the understanding of this piece. And the other one is, I'm just going to say it now because it irritated the fuck out of me. And I feel this way about most of our movies that we watch that end up this way. It ends too clean. Everybody basically walks out, other than Matthew Lillard's character and then the bad guys. All the family does survive. I fucking hate movies that end that way. And I know that sounds terrible. It's like you want people to have a bad ending. No, I don't. I want it to be more realistic. If you're fucking fighting with 13 ghosts in a house, that you're other than just getting your back scratched a few times, literally, that you end up with something bad happens to you, but nothing fucking bad happens to them.
From the ghosts specifically, because like the intro aside, because I don't count that as body count realistically, because that's just like fireworks at the very beginning, right?
Yeah.
So like once we get into the narrative, the only two people that die by ghost are, well, is it two? Three. There are only three people that die by ghost. It's Matthew Lillard's character. Oh no! Hold on. The lawyer doesn't get killed by the ghost, does he? Like the door just shuts on him.
There's four people who die.
Yeah, he gets backed into a door.
Yeah, so
by
he doesn't
a ghost, but he's not technically killed by a ghost.
So we've got the house owner gets thrown into the Oculus Inferum machine and gets blown apart, right? So there's one, and then.
The woman?
Matthew Lillard. The woman doesn't get killed by the ghost, does she? She gets killed by the fucking owner.
She gets killed by the owner. She was smushed in the door.
She's still body count. So four people.
I'm not talking about body count. What I'm saying is, how many people actually get killed by the ghosts? We have like the ghosts are our big thing, right? This is what we go into this movie expecting the ghosts to kill people. Half of the people that get killed in that house are not even from the ghosts.
No.
But here's the thing. That's what the woman said, that the ghosts were out. What was it? Somebody had mentioned that the ghosts were out to kill and torture because that's all they know. But is that really the case? Or are they just tortured souls? Because as they're leaving, they're just fading off into the woods. So maybe they're just tortured souls. They don't necessarily want to kill people. They just want to kill people that are keeping them captive.
Yeah.
I guess. But
so Matthew Lillard died by ghost because he was the one that captured all of them. Owner died by ghost because he was the one that captured all of them.
But the lady in the bathtub tried to kill Elizabeth Swanson or whatever her name is
because they're associated with the house.
I don't know. I see a movie title called 13 Ghosts and a dude gets cut in half by a glass pane. I expect certain things, and I just didn't get them.
I agree. I wish there was more death in this movie, and it wasn't so cleanly put together. But my thing I was going to ask you guys is to what your perspective of this is, because like I said, I don't know what I call it. Okay, so in the movie, we see the little boy downstairs, and then we see our Cyrus, is that his name? In the background. So you're assuming, because earlier in the movie, he supposedly dies, right? And he's got like this gash in his neck, and that's how we see him die. And then we go to the boy in the basement. We see him behind a pane. We're assuming, if you hadn't seen the movie before, that maybe he's another one of the ghosts. We don't really know, right? And then later in the movie, it comes to fruition that he is not dead. And he's just out walking around trying to fulfill this book and open the eye of hell or whatever the fuck it is. And
it's the Oculus Inferum. All right.
Okay.
It's the
It's Oculus's eye. Thank you very much. But anyway, so they do this, and he is with this woman, and he still has this cut in his neck, and he's still all fucked up and like all bloodied and stuff.
Yeah,
and Nick and I were
3 hours of special effects makeup to go to the house.
Yeah, and I'm just like, what was the purpose and the necessity of him showing up here out of random? Because I understand why he was there, but with all of this makeup, gash, and his neck.
In the hopes that when Tony Shalhoub sees him, he's wearing the glasses.
Right.
Because then he just takes them off and he's like, you're actually real. I'm just like, this is so fucking stupid.
Yeah. Because I feel like it was days later that they went to the house. So he's still wearing the same outfit from days before.
He's just been in hiding in the rafters.
My
time to pounce is nigh.
I mean, I guess if it happened just a day before, that would make sense. Like where he just went to the house and like had this fake makeup put on him, and then he just didn't worry about it because they were in the process of just trying to get everything done. But how does that still prevent you from taking a shower, dude? Like you have bathrooms in this house. Like you could take off your fake makeup. The only other explanation I could have was like maybe he got into it with one of the ghosts again. But like who? But then that wouldn't make sense because then his throat would be oozing and like all of that
is
stuff.
Specifically from that altercation at the beginning, because there's a piece of metal there. So the only thing that makes sense is that is an actual wound.
But it's not doing anything.
I know. Like it's like, and that would be
so he survived that?
There's two options. That it was either faked, right?
I'm going with that.
So then he sat through special effects makeup to have Tony Shalhoub with glasses on see him. Or it actually happened. Like those are the only two options.
But if it actually happened, then that throws everything.
So that motherfucker sat
then you
through
take
makeup.
The glasses off, and he's still alive.
Yeah, that dude literally. So what that movie is telling us is that motherfucker sat through makeup.
Yeah. Well, like his death at the end, in the beginning of the movie, was just like setting it up with the woman and like showing that like he's dead. All the people that are there, Matthew Lillard was there. A lot of people were there, so it was like, oh, well, he's dead. It was like saying, yeah, he's dead.
But
so
like
now
the lady is on his side and everything there.
Yeah, so she's probably part of that. She might have the guy that laid down like that was dead that she was with. Maybe she killed him, and maybe it wasn't because of the juggernaut.
God.
Because like you don't see him kill over in that area. You see him like folding a person's body into a car. You see him splashing blood. That was cool. Like I love when they drive through and they're like egging this fucking giant guy up who does look like an old mechanic, and they're spraying blood all over these cars. I fucking love that.
Now I have a huge problem with their blood in this movie. It's
too colored. It looks like
water.
It's too thin. It needs to be thicker and stuff. So
I agree. Yeah, and it is, and the color's not right, but like I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with the color being off. It's just the viscosity needed to be there. It literally looked like if that blood splashed on a window, it would just run off. It looks like red Kool-Aid.
But if you're shooting it through a sprinkler system, you probably need to thin it out a little bit. Otherwise, it'll clog the holes.
Yeah, we don't want to have to deal with all that.
Yeah, Tasha's right.
Have you ever had to clean a sprinkler with that's full of blood? It's just the shits, man. You don't
want to do it. Thin that shit out.
Yeah, ask the people who run the movie Blade. They'll tell you because they have to put it in sprinklers every day.
But that blood actually looks good. Like that blood looks good as fuck.
That's true. But yeah, so I was just trying to figure out like what the purpose of this guy wearing this thing on his neck and like why it was still necessary for us to see him in the same clothes with the same cut at the end of the movie. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
That part, and then the daughter just magically wandering off were my two biggest concerns in this movie.
Yeah.
Where she's just like, he turns around and she's gone. I don't understand that. I don't understand that at all.
Well, yeah, because like he like tells all of them, the housekeeper and his kids, like, you guys just stay right here. I'm gonna fucking go with the attorney. I'll be right back. He walks out of the room. Mind you, this house is made of glass. And they like look at each other with like cheeky looks, and they're just like, well, let's go cause problems.
Well, that part doesn't bother me.
Should have just kicked them all in the dick right then and there.
Oh my God.
That part doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me either. She gets attacked by the jackal and she's like in pain with dad, and then Tony Shalhoub's doing something, and then he turns and she's gone. But
I don't think she ran away. I think the guy came and kidnapped her, like he kidnapped the boy and then put them in that middle thing. But the problem with that is
that ages later.
Yeah, but he probably kidnapped her, put her in a place with the boy and her, and like kept them tied up or whatever. But the only thing that makes no sense with that is that how could you not heard her? Wouldn't she be struggling? Wouldn't there have been some kind of noise
They were
that
like
she would have
right
made?
next to each other. Yeah.
I know. So I don't think she randomly wandered off. I think my assumption is she was kidnapped, because we never see her again after that until the end of the movie.
Now, the Oculus and Ferrum, like the big machine thing that they had like in there, that's like the big gyroscopic kind of
Looks
thing and everything.
super cool.
You think it does?
I think it looks pretty good.
Okay.
I don't think it's great, but I think it's good.
This is my thing with it. I saw it and I was like, this looks fucking familiar. This looks so familiar.
Oh.
You go back just to 97, the movie Event Horizon. Okay, I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's got Sam Neill and Lawrence Fishburne in it. And it's like this, it's basically like a haunted house in space kind of thing. And there's this machine inside this spaceship that basically, it's like this black matter device. It causes, like, it can open up black holes and shit like that. And that's how this spaceship flies. It's the exact fucking look.
Really?
Yeah. So like, that's why I was just like, this looks too fucking familiar. And I was like, well, maybe I gave it the benefit of the doubt. I was like, well, maybe they came out really close together and it's just a happenstance. It was fucking like 4 years before. And I was like, I think somebody saw somebody's homework and was just like, that looks cool. Let's just do this.
I mean, I guess I could see the resemblance. Okay. Are you talking, there's like an orb in the center and then like colored light or like lights around a bunch of different
it, like,
sway thingies?
when you're seeing it in motion, it looks exactly like the fucking like bladey things that are like when the kids are sitting there and everything. I was like, this looks exactly the same.
Yeah, so. They definitely took some creative liberty from that. I'll give you that much.
Now, granted, there might have been something before Event Horizon. I'm not saying that, whatever, but I was just like, that kind of tampered it a little bit. Like, I was just like, oh, okay, wait, hold on. This seems a little too familiar. So I had to kind of dig it. I was like, it's almost too, what's the word? It's not a coincidence, I don't feel. So
gotcha. I thought you were talking about I really like the gear part of it too, not necessarily the floor.
And with the budget, I wish that were real and not CG.
Oh, it looks good.
It doesn't look bad. It doesn't look bad, but like when it starts breaking and stuff, it looks really shitty. And then like the 2 times that the CG is glaring is like when it's breaking, it looks really bad. And then when the big, I can't remember his name, but Cyrus, is that his name? The big bad guy? Yeah. When Cyrus gets killed, thrown into it, and it just like, that looks so fucking bad.
It does. That does look really bad. But I don't care. It was the movie.
My whole thing's just with like the budget and where they put money and stuff. Like obviously like, the house looks cool. I know that like to make the house seem bigger and stuff like that, they basically just kept rearranging like that. The space that they actually worked with in this movie was not that large, and they just kept moving around the walls and stuff to make it look like different rooms. They just did different set dressing and stuff, which I think's a really good way. They obviously did like really good with like the makeup and stuff of the ghosts and stuff. It's just my problem with it is just how it's shot and everything. But like you can see like the money was put to good things. And then there's just like some other stuff that's just like, I wish you would have just spent some more money on this part here and this part here to like make it more cohesive, because since all of this other stuff is practical, the CGI stands out so much more.
Okay.
That's my problem there. But
yeah. Okay. So ending it up here, who was our favorite actor or performance in this movie?
Okay.
What do we got?
Personally, my favorite is half of Matthew Lillard when he's doing well. But like I said, he's really like, there's times where it just, his overacting is like really bad in my opinion, but then there's other times that he's like hitting really well. So I'll give half of Matthew Lillard. And I actually like Tony Shalhoub in this. I thought that he was, I thought he did a good job. Everybody else I wasn't like that fucking impressed by.
Okay, Tasha, what do you think?
Matthew Lillard all the way.
Yeah.
Good for the good and the bad.
Take the good, you take the bad, and then you have the facts of life.
Matthew Lillard.
I would say Matthew Lillard too, but I also liked the ghosts. I thought they were really well, especially like the jackal part. I thought that was well acted, and I liked some of their characters technically too. So I would say the ghosts were good, and if you're talking human alive, he was alive for most of it, Matthew Lillard.
So,
and I liked Matthew Lillard as a ghost too at the end, where he was just like chill, leaning up against the thing like Keith Morrison.
So since you guys seem to have a problem with Shalhoub in this movie and stuff, you're not a huge fan of him in it. If you were to have made this movie, and if you would have made this movie and stuff, who would you cast? Let's just say at that time, or you know what? Better yet, if you were to make it now, who would you cast? Like, who would you put as a lead in this to be the dad? And like, if you're like, I just don't like Shalhoub. There's, he's just blah blah blah. Is it because of how the character's written?
Yeah.
Okay, but like, who would you put in there?
Both.
You just think it's garbage from top to bottom.
Yeah, Tasha doesn't like him as an actor. Yeah, I am not like that. He's an okay actor. I don't have any skin in the game with that. I'm just kind of like, meh, he's fine. But I don't know if I would pick a different actor specifically. I just think they should have written his character better. He was obnoxious, and I did not. And then the whole thing was like, I love my kids. I need to take care of my kids. I love my kids. I got to take care of my kids. I got to find my kids. Okay, but let's have a better character arc here. Let's have a little bit more growth. Let's have a little better acting.
Love is the most powerful energy.
Yeah, I mean, there was some parts, the acting in this in certain areas weren't the best, and from other characters too, but he was supposed to be one of the main characters, and like, I want the main character we're going to watch to actually have, like, I don't know, something that I like about them, and his character he just doesn't work for me.
Yeah, I can't think of anyone, but that's not because I want him to play the part. Just I'm drawing a blank on like early 2000s dad actors.
I mean, there's
John
a lot.
Stamos.
There you go.
No, I don't like him either.
What the fuck? Okay, let's see who else we got.
I know who we could get. Tasha would love this. We just get John Cusack to play the role.
I think that's on par. That's just swapping. This is basically the same person.
Yeah.
Let's see here. From the movies that came out, we got Kevin Spacey. I know he's a sex pest and stuff, but let's just say back then he wasn't. Like, you got him.
Samuel L. Jackson. He would bring so much back.
Just put him in anything, and it'll make it
Samuel L.
better.
Jackson with just a bunch of white kids.
Yes. Yep. I love
Anyone else? Any other options?
The only one that comes to my mind, I can't remember his name right off the top of my head. Oh shit. Let me see here. I'm not going to look it up. Fuck that. I'm too lazy to do that.
Yeah, I don't know who it could be.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, you could probably put anybody. I mean, Keanu Reeves would do better. It's just, he's not the greatest actor. And like, I think you could probably put most people in there and it would be a little more successful. You could put a no-namer in there. I mean, we watched The Void. The guy that plays the main character in The Void, he would have been great in this. Like, realistically. So,
yeah.
I don't know.
Just somebody who's not such a dick.
You think he's a dick?
Yeah, he's just like whiny and judgy and just kind of like irritated all the time. And I think like
maybe I didn't notice that so much because I was annoyed by other characters. So like when I'm saying I like him, it's in comparison to the others.
Gotcha.
Like,
so you were right on par. Like you felt his annoyance.
Well, no,
his annoyance was justified.
I don't think that he was like winning any awards or anything. Like, I'm not like, oh my God, he was so good in it. But it's like, he didn't annoy me as much as damn near everybody else in this film. So it's a low bar for him to be like, yeah, I won I got first place. It's like, slow down, kid. Like, yeah, you won. Good job.
Well, the only guy who technically didn't have any annoying parts because his part was so small was the serious guy, Cyrus. Yeah, Cyrus. Yeah, because he's like a serious character. Like, so he wasn't annoying at all. But like everybody else was just obnoxious in this film.
You could just take the guy that played the attorney and make him the dad. I don't fucking care. Don't fucking matter.
But he has like that. I liked they brought him in because he has like that creepy look. Like,
yeah, he definitely.
I really liked that.
He looked like a Nazi youth kind of guy. Like he was blonde hair, blue eyed, fucking just
what
like.
Fuck?
That's what they are. Get a little defensive over there. Put your hand down. Stop that. No, but like he just had that look. He looked like, like that fucking look that like you see him and you're
Yeah.
like, there's something bad about this guy.
Yeah, it's his eyes were creepy eyes, and they were really light blue, like a lighter blue, and I think that's what definitely sold it a little bit more.
And the fact that he was using like the like, was it like Winamp player for like all the videos and stuff with the super ooky spooky background and stuff like that when he was showing them and everything, I was just like, wow, this takes me back. But all
okay,
right. So,
rating time.
Yeah, let's do you guys just want me to get mine out of the way?
Sure.
Because you guys, I think, will be nicer and stuff. Who said for us to watch this movie?
Chris Hanshoe.
Chris Hanshoe. How do you know Chris? Tasha.
Chris is actually a friend of mine.
Okay. Would you like to defend him right now?
He's a good guy.
Okay,
he means
Chris,
well.
Chris, I heard
he actually, I texted him last night when I was watching it, and he was like, "You guys are gonna tear this apart." So he kind of like knew going into this that it might not go super well.
That's cool. My fear, honestly, was like this is kind of my fear a lot with, when someone's like, hey, I really like this, check it out or something, is that I'm going to upset them. And that's not my intention with this kind of stuff. But Chris, I feel personally hurt that I had to sit through this movie. This was an hour and a half that I will never get back.
It's okay. Nick made us sit through 1408, so it's all right.
Exactly. There are many movies that
I hadn't seen it. The
tables are now turned. This is exciting.
The turntables have turned.
Yeah.
The turntables have turned.
But no, like I'm not pissed about it. Like now I can just mark it off the list. I have seen it, and I'm never going to watch this again. Like I see what they're trying to do here. There are definitely some good bones there and everything. I wish Matthew Lillard was more Matthew Lillard like for me. Like that's the thing. Like I came into this expecting certain things and it just didn't deliver on any of it.
He's so Matthew Lillard in this.
I don't think so. I really don't think so.
Really?
And I've seen him in quite a few films and like this like, yes, there are times when he's Matthew Lillard, but there's a lot of stuff that he was too whiny and stuff, and that's not what I think of when I think Matthew Lillard.
I do, because that's part of his personality.
Not in this. Anyway, my review.
We're reviewing your review.
I know, but like, there's that. The kids are really fucking annoying, and not like it'd be different if the kids were annoying and they fucking got killed. Then it's like, because that's the point.
And it's justified.
Yeah, that's the point of a lot of that in horror films is like, we're going to give you characters that you don't like. So then you're like cheering when they die. Like, they're just fucking annoying. So like that, I just literally had to sit there, watch them be annoying, not get a lot of kills that I thought I was going to get. We like just kind of cheesy, this, that, and the other with camera stuff. It felt like it could have been an hour long and it would have still got the same fucking point across and all that stuff. For that, all of that, I'm giving this movie a 3.5.
All right.
That's low for you.
Yeah, I did. I'm not kidding. I did not like this movie. Like I'm grasped. Like the 3.5 is specifically because the house looked cool. The concept was cool. Everything and it had one cool kill, like legitimately one cool kill. All the other kills I didn't care about. The lawyer getting killed was cool. That's it.
Okay. So, all right, Tasha, what do you got? Okay, first, Tasha, before you give that, did you stay awake?
I did.
Oh, for God's sake.
She's doing so good.
I'm killing it.
You are.
I even watched it in my bedroom and I stayed awake.
Congratulations. Yay.
I'm 3 for 3.
Yeah, I know.
I would like to say, though, about my review and stuff, again, just prefacing, I did not watch this when I was younger. This is me watching it now. So
Yeah.
All right. What do you got, Tasha?
So there are some definite flaws to this movie, but as Nick mentioned, he's just now watching it. I loved this movie as a kid. I had forgotten about it, so I haven't seen it in probably 20 years. We've talked at length about Matthew Lillard. I'm cool with the whininess. I'm cool with his sarcasm. I'm cool with him being him. I thought he did really well. I didn't see the kids as being as annoying as you did. I mean, they played their parts. I thought some of this
kids though, so maybe you're more used to kids being annoying.
That's true. That's true.
Fair.
You genuinely probably like kids. We don't genuinely like kids.
Okay. All right. Well, there's that.
Would you agree, honey?
Yeah,
Do you agree?
I love the kids that I'm attached to family wise. Like,
Yep.
I love like our kids and I love Wyatt. Every other kid though, realistically, I more than likely just don't fucking like.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, that's fair. Well, then there's that.
Yeah.
I have a bias towards just kids in general.
I am a hateful old man.
I will say a lot of the scenes could have been shortened. So that was one where it was just, I was kind of getting bored, which I think if I would have watched it at a different time of day, I probably would have fallen asleep. But I was so excited to kind of remember this movie as I watched it. For all of that, and then for everything else I've said, I'm actually going to give this a 6. I do plan on watching it again.
Oh my God. Tasha, be nice to yourself.
I liked it.
Good. I'm glad that you liked it.
It's one of those movies that like you could turn on and just have it on in the background and pop in, or you know, just watch it while I'm reading a book or on my phone or whatever and pop in and out. I probably wouldn't watch it at length. But I think for somebody who wants to watch like a 2000s movie, this one is like creme de la creme. It fits that. Yeah,
I agree.
So I'm giving it a 6.
That's my relationship with House on Haunted Hill. So I understand that. Like my
relationship with House on Haunted Hill is similar to that too. Like all of those movies have nostalgia behind it. I'm not going to like reiterate everything Tasha said, but I agree with all of it. So I'm just going to say I wrote my review last night. I put my star rating down after Nick was over here complaining about like how horrible this movie was, and I was
throwing
like,
a tantrum.
Yeah, literally. I can't believe we watched this movie. This is terrible. And I'm just like, it really is not. Like, I will watch this movie again. Like, I won't watch it like as a yearly thing probably, but like, it doesn't bother me. It didn't anger me. I wasn't like hoping for it to be over. Like, I was just like, this is entertaining enough and nostalgic enough to like, I could pull things from what I remembered and then things that I didn't remember, which was nice. And I gave it a 6 star as well as Tasha. So I was like,
that's awesome.
It's not a great movie, but it's an entertaining movie.
15 and a half.
It's a 52%.
Oh, barely.
Just skirting by.
Barely. So with a 52%, you will more than likely get some kicks out of this.
Yeah.
Not for everybody, obviously. but you will more than likely, you know, like pass fail for us is 50%. So like it just squeaks by. I guess like if Matthew Lillard was not in this, it would be a fail.
Right.
True. 100%. Yeah.
So the Matthew Lillard, by the grace of God, gets this movie.
Saves the day.
Yeah.
Yep.
He does that in a lot of his movies, though, realistically. Yeah. He just is a very strong presence in his movies. And if he's a front runner, he's just so entertaining. Scream would not be Scream without him.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the thing. When we're talking about like the whiny stuff, the whininess of him in that is like when he's like injured, when he's like, I don't feel so good, man, and stuff like that. Everything else in that movie, though, he's not whiny. Like that's where like the whininess doesn't work for me in this film, where he's like doing that all the time. It just kind of bothers me. And then obviously as Shaggy in the fucking Scooby-Doo movies, he's supposed to just be a scaredy cat and stuff. And I was really hoping like just remake this movie, right? And we just put the Scooby Gang in it. And just
that would actually work.
And it actually probably would have been fucking really 10 times better.
It would really work.
That idea.
I'm on board with that. And just Raggy, and there's just it's running after Scooby, and
the adult version of Scooby-Doo.
Oh,
that would be fun.
That'd be great.
That would be fun. Yeah.
I know the first one. I think both of them were directed by James Gunn, the guy that like did like the Guardians of the Galaxy films and shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So like have him do 13 Ghosts meet the Scooby Gang. And
but here's the thing: would you be able to pull the mask off of the ghosts, or would they be real ghosts?
Well, maybe real ghost. It'd be one of those ones where like
if it wasn't for you and that dog,
old Mr. Jenkins was doing some shady shit, but the ghosts were still real.
I like it.
Well, it's the adult version of it, so the adult version can have real ghosts.
Yeah, and they could pull the mask off of somebody, and it's Tony Shalhoub under it, and you'd be like, "God damn it, Tony Shalhoub!
Get out of my movie!"
But all right, so hey, it's movie club. So for next week, we are going to be watching. I believe this is a Stephanie pick. Coming up, we are going to be watching the movie X.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're going to preface this by saying, if you look up what this movie is, don't watch this with your children. It is a pornographic-esque movie, so just going into that, understanding that.
Yep. Like, you'll notice this from the trailers and stuff. It is a slasher film. Lightly slasher.
Yeah.
Directed by Ty West. This is the first part of a trilogy. So there's X. After that comes Pearl. And then this year they are releasing Maxine. So those are 3 movies.
Okay.
So this movie is a slasher that was made just a couple years ago. I believe it came out in like 2021, 2022. But it is set in the early 80s. So think of like, grimy independent porn culture and stuff. Like that's kind of where it's set, because it's basically, and you know this from the trailer, so I'm not giving anything away. I'm just basically telling you, Tasha. So kind of prefacing it so you like, okay, this is what the movie is.
Yeah.
People are going to make a porn out on a property and shit goes sideways.
Yeah.
Got it.
And it's a period piece.
Yeah.
Takes place
early 80s, maybe late 70s, but I think it's early 80s.
Yeah. This was initially like a Nick thing. He wanted to see it a while ago, and then he was like, hey, you want to watch this with me? And I did. And then I just think it would be really good for a lot of people to watch, because I do find it really good. So
it's a good movie. I am definitely excited to see what you think, Tasha, and I'm excited to see what anybody else has to say about this movie. But
where can we find it?
Right this second. I know the last time I saw it, it's like on Showtime and shit like that. I have a physical copy of this.
Of course you do. Of course I do. Us normal people who don't buy movies and stream them. Where can we find it?
The only movies that I own are horror films and martial arts / samurai films.
I would like to point out the fact that you have 1408 on DVD, but not 13 Ghosts.
Oh, no, I don't have it on DVD. I have it on fucking Blu-ray. I paid extra money.
Paid extra money.
Yeah. And I had it for too long that I couldn't return it back to Amazon. I did that with Buffy. We watched Buffy.
You returned it?
And I fucking sent that shit back.
Yeah, so the new rule is we're doing it that way.
It wasn't streaming anywhere back then. And then like literally we watched it, we did the podcast, and then it fucking showed up everywhere to fucking stream. And I was like, I fucking hate it. This movie sucks even more now. But yeah, so we're gonna watch Ty West's X for next week's episode. And
sounds good.
Yeah, don't forget to send us some questions and stuff like that. Like we would definitely like to hear from you guys. And movie
requests.
Yes, please.
Those are so fun.
Yeah, and fucking like, even if you think it's a bad movie and you want to see us tear it apart, fucking shoot. If you love the movie, shoot. Whatever. We'll take all into consideration.
Right.
For Pod of the Dead, I am Nicholas.
I'm Stephanie.
I'm Tasha.
Come back and listen to us, or else.